Have you ever stopped to think about what a prosthetic arm looks like? For decades, the image in our heads has been exactly the same. A simple metal hook or a heavy claw. It's functional and rugged, yet clearly mechanical and detached from the human body. You've seen them in old movies strapped to brave, weary veterans returning from service. But right now, in cutting-edge research labs from Pittsburgh to Osaka, scientists have built something that completely defies our current belief of what is possible. They have successfully created a prosthetic hand that can actually feel. It senses the delicate difference between the harsh roughness of sandpaper and the softness of silk. Using high-tech sensors, it detects texture and temperature, sending data directly back into the nervous system in real time, finally bridging the massive biological gap. This means the user can close their eyes and tell you exactly what they are touching with confidence. This isn't science fiction. This is the reality of 2024. We are standing at a historic threshold where the line between biology and technology begins to blur and eventually disappear into a completely new existence. But to truly understand where we're going next, we must first look back at the original biological masterpiece, the incredible, complex machinery of the human hand. Welcome to Chrononaut Labs. I'm your host, and today we explore the high-stakes Bionic Arms Race. Hit subscribe now to join us on this journey into tomorrow. Imagine for a second losing a part of yourself. The physical loss is hard enough, but the sudden loss of all sensation. That silent void is the real tragedy. For hundreds of years, we relied on simple tools made of wood and steel. They were dead instruments that stayed silent and unresponsive when touching the vibrant world. But the brain absolutely hates that sensory silence. It craves the feedback loop. It constantly wants to know, am I touching something? Is it hot? Is it safe? There are 17,000 individual touch receptors in your fingertips alone. Each is a miracle. How do we recreate that level of genius with copper and silicon? The answer is a radical combination of neurosurgery, skeletal integration, and raw computational power, working in perfect, elegant digital harmony within the human frame. Let's dive deep into the anatomy of this technology. To build a truly functional hand, you must first understand the foundation of the bone. Let's see the truth. 27 bones, 29 joints, more than 30 muscles. Your hand is a mechanical symphony performing a perfect biological tune every single time you move a finger. Each of those joints allows for a breathtaking range of motion, precise actions we take for granted every single time we tie our shoelaces in the quiet morning. The real magic, however, is the hidden feedback loop. Your brain adjusts grip strength 100 times every second through thousands of invisible, lightning-fast calculations. Think of the precision required to pick up a delicate, thin-shelled egg without crushing it. That, my friends, is sensory intelligence in its purest form of biological action. Without the ability to feel, a bionic hand is just a dumb, expensive tool. It moves, certainly, but it has no actual idea what it's doing or how hard it's pressing. Those 17,000 receptors detect everything from a soft summer breeze to a sharp burn. They serve as our primary window to physical reality and environmental safety. In order to build true prosthetics, we have to cheat nature. We use sophisticated electrodes to bypass nerves that aren't there, creating new digital paths for signals. Early designs relied on cumbersome cables and straps. You had to pull your shoulder just to make the hand close. It was crude, slow, and physically exhausting. Cosmetic hands looked real to the eye, but were essentially just dead weight. They offered only a static illusion of wholeness, without any actual function or life. The gap between biology and technology once felt like a vast canyon, but in the late 60s, we finally found the bridge we needed. Pure, controllable electricity. Every time your muscle twitches, it sends out a tiny, measurable electric signal. We call this myoelectricity. It is quite literally the hidden electrical code of the body. By placing sensitive sensors on the skin, we can finally begin to listen to those signals. We can finally hear what the brain is trying to say to the limb. This breakthrough was the true birth of the modern bionic arm. We created a machine that obeys the body's secret commands, translating thought into immediate movement. But we soon realized that movement was only 10% of the journey. The real war was for sensation. It was the desperate struggle to feel the world again. Stay with me now because this gets truly incredible. The next part involves rerouting the very wires of the human soul. let's go even deeper into the lab. Targeted muscle reinnervation. This is more than a procedure. It is a surgical miracle. It's like rewriting the entire electrical and neural blueprint of the human body. Even when a hand is gone, the nerves are still there. They are like live phone lines with no one on the other end, just waiting for a connection. Surgeons can now take those silent nerves and plug them into the muscles of the chest. They give those lost signals a brand new home and a purpose. Now, when the brain moves a finger, the chest muscle twitches. A computer decodes that twitch and moves the mechanical finger in perfect response to the user's intent. But here is the wild part. If you touch that patch of chest muscle, the user feels it in their missing hand. It's a sensory ghost coming alive. The brain's map doesn't change just because a limb is missing. It still thinks those nerves belong to fingers. It is a perfect and elegant biological hack. This setup finally allows for real sensory feedback. Sensors in bionic fingers trigger nerves in the chest, and suddenly the biological loop is closed once more. Imagine feeling the warmth of a coffee cup through a system of advanced sensors and motors. That is the incredible reality of the high-tech world we live in. At Johns Hopkins, they've already achieved 26 individual joint motions. That is nearly the same level of dexterity as a natural, biological, living human hand. However, even with all this progress, the traditional socket remained a problem. The physical bridge between flesh and machine was always the weak point for every user. Sockets can chafe the skin and cause deep sores. They trap sweat and heat, and many people eventually leave their expensive bionics sitting forgotten in the closet. We realized we needed to move past straps and sockets entirely. We needed to make the machine part of the skeleton through a revolutionary process known as Osseointegration. First discovered in Sweden, this process allows living bone to grow directly into titanium. No glue is needed, just pure, natural, and permanent biological fusion. At the microscopic level, the bone literally threads itself through the metal. They become one single unit. Functionally and biologically, they are now completely and utterly inseparable. This changed the game forever. The prosthetic device no longer simply sits on top of the skin. It now lives, breathes, and works from deep within the body. With this connection, weight distribution becomes natural again. The weight travels through the skeleton, exactly the way nature intended for our bodies to carry their own loads. For the first time, users can wear their bionic limbs all day and night. They can climb, run, and move freely without the constant nagging pain of sockets. Because the connection is solid, physical vibrations travel directly into the nervous system. We call this phenomenon osseoperception, the true sense of the bone. This means you can actually feel the texture of the road through a prosthetic foot, or the grain of a table through a hand. It's pure bone conduction. I want you to meet Magnus Niska. In 2021, he received the most advanced integrated bionic arm in history, a seamless, stunning fusion of living bone and machine. Magnus isn't just a prototype being studied in a lab. He is a real person, living a normal, busy life every day. This is the new baseline for humanity. But we have to ask, where does this evolution eventually end? If we can replace a hand, what about a damaged eye or even a failing part of the brain? We are moving away from the era of prosthetics and entering the age of augmentation. It is no longer just about healing, but about becoming something more. Every single year, the gap between what we were born with and what we build for ourselves gets smaller. It's becoming almost invisible to the naked eye. The space inside matter is where the real work of the future happens. Geometry, code, and biology are the engines that will drive our shared future, unknown. We started this journey with a simple metal hook. We finished it with a nervous system that completely accepts titanium as part of its own biological self. That is the true, undeniable power of human science. That is why we continue to explore the impossible. Thank you for being here with Chrononaut Labs. What part of this journey surprised you the most today? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I promise to read every one of them personally. Before you go, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell. It really helps us keep this lab running and the lights on. See you soon in the future. Until next time, keep looking deeper into the world around you. reality is far more complex and beautiful than it seems on the surface. Farewell, my friends.